Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. Let's get into this video. We're going to be talking about Tuhanarak. He's a void legendary. Not many people might have it, but if you guys have it, you might not know exactly what to do with it or where best to use her. She's actually a pretty insane champion. I do have a showcase on her from a long time ago. I didn't really go too in depth, but I want to explain how I use her and what I think works best for her in this video. But before we get into that, I had a giveaway on a previous video, so I want to pick the 5 winners here right now. I didn't win or I didn't place for any higher level prizes, unfortunately, but I did participate, and there's always participation prizes. So if you guys participated in the giveaway, I will do the giveaway right now. So the prizes, we have 5 giveaways for a 4-star chicken, 100 energy, 2 million silver, and 250 multi-battle, as well as 1 3-day XP. So a small little extra freebie for you guys. But let's go over the winners here right now. So I'm going to pull up this site. I use it as a random YouTube comment picker. So I'm going to load up my video. And then what am I looking for? I'm looking for the keyword. Keyword is UM. So anybody that puts their ID there will be eligible to win. So here we go. First winner is... boom, the real deal. I have 2 Constantines, so I would rather run that with Mishinaki, Madame, and Monster. Such a limited pool of champions almost seems pointless. Congratulations, real deal. Next winner is by a D1. Nice team overall. I would probably try another damage dealer into Madame Cirrus, as she has slow animation and would probably reduce the time. Just try one run to see how many seconds you shave off. Congratulations, Addy. Next winner, Chango again. Your team is basically what I would run for a spider. If you had Morgan, I would give everyone more turns and prevent the spider from taking as many turns healing up. Speed Aura 2, replace Madame, since Mishinaki brings the same debuffs. Congratulations, Chan. Let's go. 2 more winners to go. Next one is Duck Sauce. Video was great. Congratulations, Duck Sauce. Last winner is Moot the Mad, here to win some prizes. Please, algorithm gods. The gods have answered. Congratulations, Moot the Mad. So thank you guys for participating. I appreciate it. We do probably monthly giveaways here. So if you guys are interested, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss a video with giveaways in them. Anyways, let's go and talk about Tuhanarak some more. So I'm going to show you guys a Hydra run here, and we'll talk about the run. Alright, so here is the team that I ended up putting together. I did post something on my community tab about this team where it set my personal record. I believe it was about 250 million on nightmare difficulties. So I'm back with this same team. This time I want to put some emphasis on Tuhanarak. I didn't really showcase any of the champions too specifically in that video or that post, but I do want to highlight Tuhanarak here in this team. So basically, Tuhanarak here is taking the place of Shamail, as well as the block buffs debuffer in this team. So it takes the place of Ugo as well, for example. You might notice that I don't have a decreased defense champion except for Mishinaki. So Mishinaki has a 3-turn decreased defense. He's not going to be as quick as like a standard debuffer like Ugo or something. My Ugo is about 275 speed. My Mishinaki, I believe, is about 240 speed, which is still okay. He's in Relentless, so he might get some extra turns here or there. But I do rely on him for the decreased defense. Nut does bring a weaken, so it might not be that much of a damage loss, not having the full-time decreased defense. And then we have Tuhanarak for the block buffs. Husk here is basically could be anybody. If I had somebody better than Husk, like a second Nut or an Acrizia, this team would just kind of take off in terms of overall damage. Generally, I do see this team with Krisk instead of Necmo. I think those two are, they're not replaceable exactly, but they are somewhat similar. So you could probably use Krisk here instead. Obviously, there's 2 Void Legos here. which is not super accessible to everyone, but this is a video about Tuhanarak. So Tuhanarak actually brings a lot of really good buffs in this team. She also brings the critical decreased speed. So she brings increased speed, which Nekmo actually has, but she brings it basically with both of them. It's going to be pretty full time. And then she brings a decreased speed similar to Nekmo as well, but again, it's going to be pretty full time with the decreased speed. She also brings increased defense, which really beefs up the team quite a bit. Also gives a little bit more damage for Mishinaki and Nut. So let's jump into the run. It's going to be on 3x speed. I'm going to try to talk through it. So I do place Husk in position 2. So when Cardio does the ally attack, Husk will be second in line to place the debuffs. Husk is basically here for a backup provoke. You actually find that he's actually very important for the backup provoke, because my main provoke is actually just Nekmo. I know in some teams it's going to be Krisk with the main provoke or backup provoke, and then they're going to have another champion with a provoke set as well. So in terms of Hex, our Hex debuff comes from Mishinaki. You could sub Hex set for another champion, but I mean, you can't have provoke set, Hex set on everybody, and we don't have enough AoE damage dealers. So if you guys have a suggestion for maybe replacing Husk with a AoE damage dealer, that would be kind of cool. Let me know in the comments below. Husk is a very flexible spot. I think Mishinaki and Nut definitely go into any top damage Nightmare team, I would think, unless you have a Krizia, for example, which would probably be the highest Nightmare damage dealer at this current moment. So Tuhanarak here, she actually has her passive will remove 1 debuff and potentially 2 debuffs. So she kind of brings replaces the she brings like a soft cleanse, but it's on a passive ability, and it's basically around how many turns she takes. So she's here basically to remove fear and to manage the torment head. You want her to be fast, obviously, because she will cycle through her passives, and yeah, she needs turns to cycle through her passives so she can remove more debuffs. You'll notice here that I do have Cardio. Cardio is my block debuff champion or cleanser. He also brings a little bit of extra damage with his buffs as well. Although he doesn't hit hard himself, he does boost up your team quite a bit, especially for his healing with his A1. I have him currently in War Master, so he does deal, I guess, a little bit of damage. He doesn't have Brimstone or anything like that. He's in an arena build with resistance, so he will resist the Mischief Head. So yeah, so the team works really well together. Generally, I want to target the head of Decay to make sure that head is controlled. I do have Husk with the ally attack, so Husk can provoke on the A1. That's a pretty big deal. Like I said, as a backup, Nekmo is in a provoke set, so he also brings a soft provoke. So the team really hinges on controlling this debuff head. In terms of overall survivability, the survivability is very good on this team. All the damage dealers have, good survivability, defense base, HP base. My support champions are high HP, good defense, good speed, so they can cycle back and then recover. So there's really, in terms of dying, there's no real dying, but there is a possibility where the Head of Decay gets loose, cleanses everyone, and then, for example, Poison Cloud or something comes out and then really messes up your run. But this is a pretty high damage team, at least for my roster capabilities on Nightmare. So I'm generally about 1 million per turn, and I was able to hold that rate basically throughout the run until near the end, of course. It gets really hard near the end because your team gets disrupted by the heads eating your heads, and then you have to free them and all that stuff. So alright, so the way Tuhanarak works, her A2 places a decrease attack and a block buff. It has a secondary effect where it spreads the ability. However, it spreads 2 random debuffs. So the only way to guarantee that the block buffs is spread is if you place the block buff and the decreased attack on a champion with no debuffs. So that's one way to guarantee the spread of attack down and block buffs to everyone. So I would recommend, so that makes the move a little bit tricky. However, that would make, if it was like just spread all to, you know, all enemies, it might just be too strong. So they add a little bit of RNG to soften it up a little bit. But basically, you want to target the most important head that you want the block buffs on. For example, the head of Wrath. You don't want that head to get any buffs. So you want to target that one and then hope that it spreads the proper, well, you know, good debuffs to the other heads. It can spread the same debuff. So it can spread the same debuffs, like, so it can overlap. So for example, if the head that is getting applied the spread has block debuffs, and then you spread block debuffs onto it, well, that's, you know, that's just going to happen, and then you're just going to spread one less debuff onto that head. So there is a little bit of limitation on the block buffs. However, it works pretty well actually, surprisingly. It's a void. To-Hanok is void affinity, so there's no chance of weak hit, which actually is very important. Her A1 brings a decreased speed, which is insanely good actually, especially when you need to target heads that just die, like that are just decapitated, because sometimes you attack with your Necmo and then, for example, Necmo brings decreased speed and then a head dies and then that head won't have decreased speed. But To-Hanok's A1 has decreased speed on it. It's not 100%, but I believe it's 50%, and it also places some continuous heals and stuff. So it's a very solid A1, but it's only single target. Her A3, she brings increased speed, increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very solid buffs. Increased defense, especially helpful, keeping your team alive. Increased speed, just making sure the team has enough coverage for the increased speed, so your team will always have the increased speed up. So very solid, and like I mentioned, her passive is one of the main things about her kit as well. Allows her to basically sub out like a Shamail, so you don't have to deal with the Torment head with just Shamail, for example. To-Hanok can do it. Also, you know, helps out with clearing like poisons, provokes, little things like that. But it's not super necessary with this particular team because we have cardio. If you don't have cardio, he's basically a champion here that supports and heals and brings some damage. So for example, the new Krokmar champion, which brings a shield and, you know, some support damage stats similar to cardio, increased crit rate, increased crit damage. Krokmar actually works quite well, and then he can deal some damage on his A1, and it's an AoE, so you can actually give him you know, a proper set, curse set, provoke set. I'm really interested in that Krokmar champion actually, but you know, whatever, you can't control what you pull, right? So we just make do of what we have. But yeah, cardio here, you don't really need them. You don't really need block debuffs on any Hydra team, to be honest. I wouldn't focus too much on it. Sometimes it's like if you have block debuffs and it gets stolen and then it gets spread by the head of mischief, it's just yeah, it's just a circus after that. It's just a disaster. So you don't really like, you know, that. So you don't really need block debuffs. What's good about cardio is that he brings the healing, very solid healing. And then of course he brings the revive on death, which actually doesn't come into play in this fight very often. So you see that my nut hits the big defensive Hydra head. It deals the most damage against the big defensive one, the tanky one, because he has the highest max HP. So my nut will basically hit it for the highest damage. Yeah, and then it kind of hits like the head of mischief for like low damage because the head of mischief has low HP. But then it's like, yeah, there's an interesting kind of thing. So it's an interesting thing you have to weigh out, right? Oh, so in this situation where all 4 heads are down, this is actually a really rare sight, obviously, in Nightmare where all 4 heads are down. This is where the big damage starts coming, when you got all of them on Hex, decreased defense, and then you can hit them with the big slams, like the Nut A3, for example. But unfortunately, we didn't get any huge damage there, but you can see that where damage is ramping up a little bit, over 1 mil per turn. After 100 turns, I think that's pretty good, at least for my roster anyways. So we still target the decapitated heads, like they deal triple damage, so you get 3 times the damage score. So it's very important to start targeting those decapitated heads. When heads spawn, they take reduced damage, so you try to avoid them the best you can. I'm obviously targeting the head of decay because I need to provoke that head with Husk, for example. But yeah, so you see like Head of Mischief here actually stole the counterattack from Nut. The Nut A2 is a bit of a liability sometimes, and I've had runs like kind of go off the rails because of it. You can see here, like I barely got it together just in time to deal with this. Just in time, literally, like the attack to literally just on the last attack, I was able to free. On turn 110, I was able to free the champion from the Head of Mischief after the Head of Mischief took the counterattack buffs and so forth. I do have a Mischief tank in this team. Tuhanarak is actually the Mischief tank. The way I have it set up, you see that the Mischief is actually attacking Tuhanarak more often than the other champions. She has Lightning Cage on. She has Lightning Cage on. It's kind of strictly so that she has more buffs than the other champions. So Lightning Cage is basically always on her, so she has 1 extra stack energy, 1 extra stack on her. So you know, but of course it's not going to be super consistent because there's going to be you know, it's not perfectly speed tuned, for example, and sometimes her continuous heals are placed randomly on champions. So it's not, you know, 100%, but she is the majority target for Mischief. So I do build her with resistance. It's pretty easy to build her with resistance because she doesn't need, you know, too many stats otherwise. Obviously she needs accuracy to land her debuffs. You want her to be tanky and high speed if possible. I'll show you guys all the builds right after the run, of course. So you see here we're still going 1 mil per turn roughly. Still able to decapitate heads, which is really awesome. If you notice throughout the run, I was trying to actually time it so that I kill the Mischief head, so that when it dies, it steals it drops the turn meter of the other heads when it is most beneficial. For example, if the Head of Decay was close to attacking but was not provoked, I would definitely try to target the Mischief head to try to bring down the turn meter, so it gives me a little bit more time to provoke him again. Just little things like that. Also, for example, if like the Head of Wrath just you know, big AoE attacked and now is no longer stacking the stacks, if you kill the Mischief head, you'll reduce the turn meter on the Head of Wrath, and then you can hit it a bit more, so it kind of increases your damage that way. But I've been trying to incorporate it a little bit more, trying to utilize killing the Head of Mischief in like a certain more deliberate way, so that I can bring down the turn meter of the other heads, so that I can deal more damage. But I think it's something that I'm gonna try to play around a little bit more with. I think it works pretty well. Yeah, so for this team, you basically have to ignore the Head of Torment and kill them off with the splash damage. But the Head of Torment doesn't have insane HP, so it just kind of dies with splash, like residual damage. So here the Head of Mischief is down. You definitely want to target the Head of Mischief because the Head of Mischief actually, you know, has low defensive stats, so you can hit him pretty hard. The Head of Mischief is the fastest one, so you don't actually get that many turns to whack it. Like, you know, you don't get that many turns to whack that head. So yeah, so of course we try to control the Head of Decay as well. It's a very delicate balancing sometimes, but these runs are going to be manual, guys. Like if you're looking for a big damage run, they're going to be manual. Yeah, any big damage run will be manual. So I guess you could do like some kind of auto team on maybe lower difficulty, try to score really high as well. I think it's possible. Lower difficulty, you can definitely get away with going full auto, just because even mistakes don't really get compounded that badly on lower difficulty. Like you can survive big hits, you can survive bad situations, like devour plus, you know, shield. You can probably even beat through that, like with tons of different team comps. So lower difficulty, not a big deal, but on higher difficulty, I think definitely need a manual run. You see I targeted the Head of Wrath there with the Tuhanarak A2s, placing the block buffs on the Head of Wrath. That's very important, of course. Spreading the block buffs, of course, like there's, you know, it's relevant, but you want to place it on the most important ones, of course. Okay, so moving on here. Definitely I can probably pump up some stats on some of these champions, but I think this works quite well already. I try to save my best gear for like PvP, but probably time to maybe ramp up some of these champions in terms of overall stats. Can probably deal a bit more damage. Definitely speed is very important if you guys want to do top damage here. So the Torment we definitely don't want to see, and then the Head of Decay is super annoying when it comes out, because then we have to control it. The Fear Head does give us a little bit of problems, but our Tuhanarak, for the most part, I didn't feel too much problems with it. We had Tuhanarak and the Cleanser cardio, so it was pretty smooth in terms of like cycling back and forth. Yeah, so cardio comes in. I would use the cardio to cleanse at least maybe 1 or 2 fears, and then that would be enough. Not really to survive, but mostly just to get the fears off. Here's where the trouble starts coming, when the Head of Mischief ate my husk and then had the counterattack stolen as well. So you see both times in this run so far, the counterattack, when the counterattack was stolen off Nut, it was becoming quite hairy. In this time, this instant I didn't get lucky to kill the Head of Mischief and free my champion. So now I'm running with 5 champions. So at about turn 175, we were about 1 million per turn, and now we're gonna start losing our damage quite a bit since we lost 1 champion. And it's actually like kind of it might have been like one of the better champions to lose, to be honest, but definitely Husk was very important for controlling the Head of Decay with the A1 provoke, and also brings damage as well, right? So yeah, you see the run starting to fall apart here. Head of Decay is getting more cleanses off. So yeah, definitely feeling it here. So Tuhanarak doing what she can. She actually hits pretty decent on her A1, so building her with 100% crit rate, you know, could work out for you. Obviously you gotta hit other stats, of course. We're trying to kill the Head of Mischief here to decrease turn meter. There it goes. Turn meter goes down. Have a bit more time to whack the Head of Decay and the Head of Wrath. So the Head of Wrath goes down to get some extra damage against the other heads. Alright, so we're going to try to kill the Head of Decay here, I think. Alright, Mischief comes back. Got the Hex applied. We're praying that a provoke lands on this Head of Decay. Looks like nothing's happening. Yep, nothing's happening. It's not reliable enough just with Necmo's provoke set, so we really needed the Husk there. Moving on. I think if there was a strong enough A1 AoE champion, maybe I can put it in a provoke set, and then it would be better than the A1 Husk. And then you can run like maybe 2 provoke set champions with an ally attack. That might be enough provokes. So here you see a lot of things going wrong now. We're just trying to hang on for some extra damage. It's about turn 200 right now. Just hanging on here. Do as much damage as we can. Get that Head of Torment out of there. Necmo is the one that's probably the weakest to the Head of Torment, because his moves will always get him feared. Somebody like Cardio is actually really good because he's single target, and then he can just cleanse off if he gets a turn. He won't be feared too often. So again, Mischief steals stuff, but luckily the Tuhanarak block bus was able to stop everybody. So again, we were able to free the champion, so the run continues. Definitely very insane considering we lost a champion about 50 turns ago. The run's still going. Not as effective as it was before. Damage per turn is definitely going down, but still hanging in there for a little bit more damage. Poison cloud coming out, very annoying. Maybe if we had a backup backup block buffs, it would be a little bit nicer, but To-Hanok seems to be okay. We're gonna hit through the poison cloud to free our champion. Thank goodness for Nut. Speed up, defense up. Mishinaki doing tons of damage. Spreading. Yep. Sometimes you get a lucky spread. You can spread Hex, you can spread HP burn sometimes. So, you know, it is random. The debuff that you spread is random. However, the attack down and block buffs is placed on one champion 100% for sure. So the debuff is random. In this case, we spread HP burn, for example, so you get a little bit extra damage, which is actually pretty nice. Alright, nearing 200 million. I mean, I'm pretty happy with this so far. Trying to decrease turn meter. We got it, so we got a little bit extra turns for some more damage. Alright, trying to get the speed down. Couldn't get it. Big slams on the big head. Get maximum damage there. Alright, applying Hex. Oh, got eaten. Can we free? Can we free him? I think it might be okay. And we do. Little visual bug there, but we got To-Hanok back. Cleanse off. And then the poison cloud on 3 heads. That's probably it. That's going to be it here. Poison cloud on 3 heads with the head of decay. Yeah, everybody gets cleansed off. And then the poison clouded head eats one of our champions. So that's pretty much GG. Although I believe I saw that Nuts A3 was ready. Or ready soon. Yeah, it was ready. So I'm waiting for the Head of Torment to get off the 1-turn Poison Cloud, and here we go. I'm feared. I missed the A3. I couldn't free my champion, and gets devoured, and that's gonna be the end of the run. It's a good run considering that we lost a champion at turn 175, and then the final turn count was about 270. So 100 turns without Husk. Husk probably puts out, you know, he puts out what, like 1 million every 3 turns. So it's at least, you know, maybe another 20 million maybe. He's probably close to Nut maybe. Maybe, I'm not too sure actually. 100 turns, yeah, something like that. Maybe 10 or 20 million more. So obviously Mishinaki doing tons and tons of damage. To-Hanok without anything other than War Master. She doesn't have Brimstone or anything. She's doing quite a bit of damage. Nekmothar with the Brimstone and obviously lots of turns, dealing tons of damage as well. Cardio, you know, this is just straight damage. He has War Master, of course. So this is from War Master. So To-Hanok doing also from War Master procs. Yeah, so but you can tell here Nekmothar definitely carrying in a lot of aspects. To-Hanok actually carrying in a lot of aspects as well. A lot of the healing from the Nut, obviously from the A3. Let's jump into the team and the individual champions, and we'll go over the builds. Alright guys, so here she is, To-Hanok. Like I said, Void Legendary Champion. Not many people will have her. She's insane. She's actually in, you can use her in Arena as well. She's in those high-level bomb teams where you place bombs and use To-Hanok to spread the debuffs. So let's go over a kit real quick. I didn't really go over it. A1, 30%, 50% chance to place the speed down on one champion. Also places the continuous heals on this champion and the lowest HP champion. A2, this is the big thing for her. She has the 100% chance of placing the big decrease attack and then block buffs for 2 turns. That's on one enemy. And then it applies the debuff spread, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. So like I said, you want to apply the decreased attack and block buffs on a champion with no debuffs, and then you're guaranteed that the decreased attack and the block buffs will spread to everybody. If you cannot do that, then you will not guarantee that the block buffs will go on everybody. So 5 books here, 3 turn cooldown. It is reasonable. Her A3, 3 turn cooldown again, increased defense, increased speed, all allies. Very simple, very straightforward, very good. Passive ability just passively removes 1 random debuff. However, it can remove 2 random debuffs if it's under continuous heals. Very solid, right? It's not as, maybe not as good as even Doom Priest, because Doom Priest places a small heal as well. But the 2 random debuffs is actually pretty huge. So very, very good. Accuracy in all battles, very strong. Like I said, Lightning Cage gives her the ability to be the mischief tank. Very high probability. Also gives her a little bit extra attack, but that doesn't really matter. Masteries, I have it down to War Master. Like I said, you want to take maybe you want to take Lasting Gifts if you can get over there with the Cycle of Magic down to Lasting Gifts. That might be actually better than Wrath of the Slain. That doesn't make much sense. So if you go here, and then you can take Lasting Gifts. I went for extra chance for the speed down. Not necessary, right? Extra 5% chance, not huge or anything. Let's go over the other champions for the team. We have Cardio here. Cardio's in my arena build. He has decent resistance. He's fast. He has good defensive stats. You could jack him up with like 100 crit rate if you want, but not super necessary. He's not here for damage. Down to War Master, like I said. Mishinaki is Relentless. Relentless will give you more damage, so definitely go for Relentless. Good defense. Oh, this one's actually slower. Sorry, I was citing my other Mishinaki, which is faster. This one's a bit slower. So I can definitely make this Mishinaki more powerful by making him much faster. Crit cap, good crit damage, and enough accuracy to place his debuffs. Nut, he's in Savage, so always crit cap. 253, a little bit low on defense. He's going to crit cap here against the... he's going to cap the damage against the heads, even without defense down. So hits really hard. Could be in Relentless. Relentless actually might be better in Hydra. Necmo is in a Provoke set, like I said. He's quick, got enough accuracy, some survivability. Masteries, War Master. Sorry, Nut Masteries is Giant Slayer, Mishinaki, War Master. And then my last build is Husk. Husk is in Reflex. Reflex, I think Reflex gives him more damage overall because he gets back to his A2. However, Relentless might give you more consistent provokes and is also pretty good for damage as well. So I have both. I have Reflex and Relentless, so I'm not sure which one is better. I tried the Reflex one, this one, because it has better stats overall. But I think the Husk was actually pretty good. So Reflex definitely looking good for me. Down the War Master, of course. You could go for this one as well, Retribution. I just didn't finish off his Masteries. And yeah, if you have refresh accessories on all of them, on any of them, it's actually very useful. Refresh, especially for the max HP hitters. Tuhanarak. Oh, I also have this Blood Shield ring. So if you have Blood Shield, it also increases the likelihood that she will be targeted by the Mischief Head. So make sure you guys think about that. I have her in Guardian set. I didn't go over her stats actually. So her stats here, she has good HP, good defense. It's easier to build her up, really tanky. She has good base stats. Make her fast. Good resistance. You're looking for about 440 resistance and about 330, 340 accuracy. That would give you roughly about 90, low 90% to succeed. So with the Hydra battle bonuses, I have more than enough to cover. So that's the build. She's in Guardian. It's kind of just like just a tanky support set. It takes a little bit extra damage away from your team, and then she takes it. Also gives her passive healing when it's her turn. Not a big deal, but you know, sometimes when you don't have like a, you know, when you don't have a super crazy healer, like we do have Cardio, but we don't have anybody that actually like heals the team. Having a heal on your support champion is actually kind of good because they're not going to get too many War Master hits in, and they can't really heal off that all the time consistently. If you guys run Ugo, you guys will get my gist. And And yeah, like I said, Blood Shield allows her to be the mischief tank consistently. You guys can try her in Relentless. Relentless would probably be pretty good as well, giving her extra turns so she can go back to her passive, go back to all cycle through our skills. So Relentless probably be pretty strong on her as well. Or you can just make a all speed set and make her just super fast. But there she is, very good champion. Definitely anchors this team, pulls this team together. Otherwise, if I don't have her, I have to run Shamail. And then I probably have to run a block buff champion like Ugo, which takes away, 1 DPS champion like, for example, Husk. I might have to run Shamail and Husk, Shamail and Ugo instead of Tuhanarak and Husk here. So, yeah, so she provides some flexibility since she covers 2 different champions' abilities. Anyways, guys, a bit of a long video. Hopefully you guys made it to the end, and I do appreciate you guys watching, of course, and appreciate your time. Congratulations to all the winners of the giveaway. Like I said, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you guys want to make sure you guys are aware of future giveaways. And if you guys like the content or like the channel, make sure you guys hit the like button, and of course subscribe if you guys haven't already. I do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.